Welcome to the Rusted Garden Homestead. Today I just wanted to highlight the Mortgage Lifter. It's a beautiful heirloom tomato from the 1940s that really produces large tomatoes. You're going to get pretty regularly 1 pound tomatoes. You can get 2 pound, even 3 pound tomatoes. I don't grow this in a way, I don't remove tomatoes higher up on the plant to get large tomatoes. This has all been natural growth, just basic compost in the planting hole, organic fertilizers, some water-soluble fertilizer maybe once a month. Nothing fancy, and this plant does really well. The Mortgage Lifter history, you know, kind of the lore kind of dates back, I believe, to the 1940s, and a farmer created a hybrid called the Mortgage Lifter because he sold them. They produced such large tomatoes. He sold so many of them that he was able to lift or remove the mortgage from his farm, and that's how the name came to be, the Mortgage Lifter. Just look at these beautiful tomatoes. These are nice sized tomatoes, probably a 1 pounder in there. That's the second grouping of tomatoes. Picked one off the bottom. You can see one down there. You know, that is not a 1 pounder. But coming around here, this is one of the first tomatoes. And this plant right now is easily 6 feet tall. Pretty good resistance to disease. It's been sprayed with the rest of my tomatoes. One of the keys to really having green, lush, healthy tomatoes is to maintain the watering. We've had crazy heat, 4 weeks, 95 plus degree temperatures, which is not normal here for Maryland Zone 7. We usually get more rain. The heat starts rolling in about now, but since June it's been hot, very little rain. So here's one tomato. We'll take this one, we'll weigh it. But here's the larger one that I'm pretty sure is over, you know, 1 pound. We'll see how much that weighs. But you're going to just get these beautiful large tomatoes. It's a lot of fun to grow. I mean, look at that. More are on the way. So let me get in there, cut these, and we'll weigh them. And I'm actually going to have to drop the camera here because I don't want these tomatoes falling on the ground. Here's the first one. This one is, I mean, it feels like it's easily going to be 1 pound. And that one is 1 pound, 1 ounce. So, and most of the tomatoes are going to be about this size. They taste really good. They're meaty. They've got a good sweetness to them. Just a great slicing tomato. I make sauce out of these. They're just beautiful, big tomatoes. Just wanted to cut in real quick. Everything's been harvested off of the Mortgage Lifter. And those of you that have a great memory, just want to let you know that at one point I loved the Mortgage Lifter, and then I didn't love it because it wasn't producing, and I actually started saying, you know, I don't recommend growing it. By increasing the amount of watering, putting basil in front of it, that's the southern western side, shading the bottom of the soil, keeping it cooler, the tomato plant has been doing really, really well. So I take back not recommending it, and it was more on my error of not giving the tomato plant what it needs. Now, of course, as it got hotter, like you will have noticed through the video, I talk about it's not producing fruit up top. It just got too hot. So there are some heat issues when the heat gets really high, but if you water it regularly, you know, put some basil down at the bottom, shade the soil, use mulch, and then if you even went further and used a shade cloth, you're going to keep getting beautiful, large 1 to 2 pound tomatoes. You just need to give it the care that it needs to flourish. Let's take a look how big this tomato is. It's the whole span of my hand almost, and I think that one's going to be 2 pounds. Just a beautiful large tomato. Again, this is the Mortgage Lifter. Let's weigh it real quick. And we're at 0.0. Whoa, don't want it to fall. 2 pounds, 1 ounce. You're gonna get regular tomatoes, pound to 2 pounds off the Mortgage Lifter. Let me take off the rest of the tomatoes and just get a total of how much weight we're getting off, really off the first picking. The one tomato I took off was about 10 ounces. That was a couple days ago. Including the tomato I removed, that's a little over 4 pounds of tomatoes. Now this tomato is getting cracked. Pick this one. I'm actually going to be making sauce out of these, but we're going to cut these up so you can see what they look like sliced, so you can see how meaty they are. Really, really great tomato. I don't mind making sauce out of a tomato that's a little bit green. By removing the smaller ones, like off the clusters, it's got a little damage there, you can get larger tomatoes. So when you have a grouping, and these are sometimes coming with 3, 4, 5 tomatoes like in a cluster. I mean, look how big these are. It's going to take another week to ripen. Just using my hands for size. These are well over a pound each. But if you had several tomatoes on here, and I just removed one from back here and a smaller one from here, if you remove those tomatoes, sometimes you get larger tomatoes. If you're, going to some sort of fair or something and you're trying to grow the largest tomato, you want to reduce the number of tomatoes on the cluster down to 1 or 2. But 1, 2, 3 more easy 1-pounders. Let's go over on this side. Just take another quick look. That's the one right over there from the other side. This one approaching a pound, approaching a pound, approaching a pound. Like you could remove this one if you want those to get larger. The heat really started setting in when the tomatoes were up here. So when you get high heat, your tomatoes may not form or the flowers may drop. So in super high heat, I do recommend maybe protecting this one with some shade cloth. If I did that with this group, I'd probably have more tomatoes up here. And for a little bit of perspective, there's a quarter compared to the 2-pound tomato. Just a tip, if you're slicing large tomatoes, you want the slice to be nice, a serrated edge works really well, or you want a really, really sharp knife so you don't smash anything. When I recalculated the weight of these, it was easily over 5 pounds. I made an addition mistake before. I think I said 4 pounds or something like that. But 5 pounds really threw 6 tomatoes. Decided to slice up the 2 large tomatoes. So this is the 1-pounder. I mean, just look how meaty this is. I mean, it's beautiful for a tomato, bacon, lettuce sandwich or just a tomato sandwich. Perfect size. You're going to get a lot of these 1 pounds. Here's the 2-pound. I mean, it's like a little tomato steak. And what I would actually do is sometimes I just briefly saute these in a frying pan. Well, I don't saute them, but heat them through on one side, heat them through on the other side, olive oil, garlic, they're delicious. With something thick like this, you can do it on the grill. It doesn't need to be on the grill that long. Just kind of lightly char each side, take it off, be careful with it. If you let it go too long, it does break apart. But it's a great way to enjoy these larger tomatoes. And again, perspective-wise, there's the quarter. The 2 tomatoes that were ripe, I'm actually decided to chunk them up. I forgot, since it's been a year, just how meaty these are. So this is going to be a base for a cucumber tomato salad, and that's from 2 of the smaller tomatoes. This guy here, he's going to be saved. He's going to go into the sauce. But just beautiful meaty chunks for your cucumber salads or your tomato salads. I really like the mortgage lifter. When the high heat comes, a little shade protection will help let it continue to produce tomatoes. It does kind of slow down when it gets really hot, but just a light shade cloth. And the tomatoes that you did not see up on top of the plant, those are flowers that just didn't pollinate. Some flowers dropped because it was just too hot. A little shade cloth, and you'll keep getting pollination, you'll keep getting tomatoes throughout this plant. Also, stay with the watering. Keep up on the watering. Water more often than you think. There wasn't much cracking on these larger ones. The shapes are always odd because they're heirlooms, but they're just beautiful. Full of moisture. They smell wonderful. Good sweetness to it. But most of all, I really like the meatiness to this tomato. It's a great, great sandwich tomato. Thanks so much for watching. Please check out my seed shop at therustedgarden.com. And please subscribe. I'll be doing profiles on different tomatoes throughout the summer. Thanks for watching.